everyone. Welcome to Art and Talk. Art and Talk is an online interviewing platform for artists to share their art, creativity, and passion. We embrace all the arts, the traditional arts, and the spiritual arts to bring you diverse and quality interviews to watch and be inspired by. We're so grateful that you're watching today. I'm Leslie Sue, the host for Art and Talk, and today we're continuing with part two of our two-part series looking at the art of communication. And in part one, we looked at the art of animal communication with our guest animal communicator, Debbie Carroll. And she went over a great a great overview of a variety of different situations with her clients with animal communication and going over her process and also providing us with some tips and techniques so that we can communicate with our animals as well. So if you haven't checked that out and you're an animal and pet lover, you definitely want to check that out. You just go on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook page and you can watch part one. So today we're in part two and we're going to be looking at the art of angel communication with our guest who is an angel communicator. So I definitely recommend if you want to get connected with your angels and you're just starting out, or even if you're a little bit experienced, you might want to go get a pen and paper because our guest is going to outline how to receive divine intervention. There's a couple steps involved and also how to connect with the angels. So she's going to give us also some tips and techniques so that we can connect with our angels as well. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'd love to welcome our guest for today, angel communicator Maria Scozzari. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Leslie. How are you?
Good. It's so awesome to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, Maria. Wow. I know you're going to share so much with us. And you mentioned that there are some archangels that cover art. And of course, with Art and Talk, we embrace all the arts, the traditional and the spiritual. But let's find out a little bit about you, Maria. How did you get started? I know you teach a lot of classes and how to help people communicate with their angels, with chakras. You do a lot of stuff. So can you give us a little bit of a bio?
Right. Yeah. Well, like all of us, we were born with these gifts. I believe that we are all special, that all of us, we have been provided with the gift of connecting with the angels. So when we are children, it's very easy to see them, hear them. And that's why little children, they talk about imaginary friends. So I had a lot of imaginary friends, and thanks God, my family, they never, make fun of me, or they never say to me, "Don't talk that way." So I had two guardian angels when I was a kid. I was maybe 4 or 5, and her name was Mabel, and the other one was Pepe. So my family knew about them, and every time we sat for dinner, they will say, "Where is Mabel?" So I will tell them, "Mabel is sitting next to me on the left, and Pepe is here." So my mom will ask it, "Do you think they want dinner?" And I'll ask my guardian angels, "Do you guys want some soup, some salad?" They were always like, "No, we're fine. We're just keeping you company." So to make a long story short, I think what happened is when we grow up, ego develops, we develop the ego. And that's when we take this big distance between our soul and our, identity. It's a big distance. And so I kind of took that distance like everybody else. By age 11, I wasn't seeing my angels anymore. And so I thought, like everybody else, oh, well, I was a kid. This was part of my imagination. Or, like some psychologists could say, maybe a coping mechanism. I don't know. But so I just join the bus that everybody is on it. And so, but then I almost had a car accident when I was 19 years old, and I saw my angels again. At that moment, I saw no Mabel and Pepe, but I saw three big angels right behind me. I was driving my mother's car, in the middle of the night. It was very dark. And they told me something really strong, and I could see them, hear them, and they made me feel it was like all my channels were involved, that I should, as soon as I take this curve, to go over a sidewalk and stay there. You know, the message was very logic. How can I go over a sidewalk and just stay there, you know? But it was so clear that I just followed the message. So I went over that sidewalk and I just parked the car. And then a few seconds later, a big pickup truck was taking that curve in the opposite direction, but it was raining so much that that guy lost control of the car and we almost collided. So when we end up being next to each other, he at that time in 1989 he asked me to roll the window. It was not automatic windows. So he asked me, he said to me, I saw you when you parked your car on the sidewalk. How, why did you do that? If you didn't do that, we will have collide head to head, and it will be a very ugly situation. How did you know that we could be in troubles? I said, if I tell you, you're not gonna believe me. I am trying to digest what happened, so just drive slow and just, you know, it's raining. So at that moment I understood. Now I have three guardian angels. Pepe and Mabel are not here anymore. Years later I understood that we have angels according to our age group. And but there's always some of these angels who's always gonna be there for us, and that if your life is in danger, you don't need to ask for help. They will come and save you. Otherwise, you always have to ask for help. You always have to say, yeah, I want a new job, I want a new relationship. So at the same time in 1989 I took meditation, the same technique that you practice and that my husband teaches, and that I give all the credit to meditation. That's what helped me to go back to 1974 and reconnect with this source that I just turned my back on it, you know, that I forgot maybe. I mean, once you are 11 years old, you're not thinking anymore about angels. You're thinking about the cutest kid in school and and other stuff. So I, I I went back to the roots and I learned how to connect with them, and how to look for signs. And I just want everybody to know that we all have that connection. That we just lose it because we start suffering. You know, we go through hardship, and so we lose like innocence. I think the main reason why we lose the angelic connection, let's say no, we lose it, we forget about the angelic connection, is because of not only ego, but it's because we lose the innocence. It's lack of innocence. You know, when I teach these angels course for children, I love to teach this course because I ask them, who has imaginary friends? Everybody raise their hands. Who knows their names? And they look at me like, hello.
Mm.
Of course we know their names. And I said, yeah, make all those faces to me. Come and join me when I teach this class to adults. And look what happened when I asked the adults if they have imaginary friends and if they know their names. You know, so we all laugh, and you know, so but long story short, I think we all need some kind of spiritual tool to reconnect with the gifts that we were all born.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and you provide this tool for those who are interested in reconnecting, you know, with their angels. And I think that's so beautiful, Maria, that as a child, that you know you retain that awareness of seeing the angels and you know kind of develop that camaraderie and that rapport. And then, as you mentioned, around 11, you know, it kind of started to dissipate, and you kind of get involved in the other things. And then they, there was that beautiful saving grace moment with you and the driver, and then, how that whole situation was just, completely prevented so that everybody was safe.
Right. And it was funny because I try not to tell everybody about Mabel and Pepe, because in high school they were making fun of me. They were like, "Oh, where's Maria? I'm wondering if she's with Mabel and Pepe." That it became the joke. It became the joke. So you try to, when you are a teenager, it's so difficult. You have to blend. You have to be like a chameleon. You lose so much innocence. So, but. The angels, they connect with us in many ways. One of the techniques, or one of the methods they use the most, is dreams. And you have to be very careful and pay attention of the dreams between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. because that window, that open window, your ego is asleep, but you have certain awareness. You're not 100% asleep, and you're not 100% awake. So you're more open. Your ego hasn't wake up yet. When ego wake up, is like, oh my God, it's so loud, and immediately is telling you all the bad things about the world, about you. So the angels, they say, oh good, look, Leslie is between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. Let's give her some messages. Also, the parted loved ones, they come between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. Ascended masters, you know. So we have to pay attention to those dreams, and we need to understand how dreams is a different language, and we time goes by, you learn how to differentiate when you have a dream just because it was a release of stress. Let's say, for instance, you had a fight with your husband, and that night you dream with that fight. That's not a message from the angels. That's just release of stress. But then there's other kind of dreams, with a lot of light and a lot of love and compassion. That's how you know you're channeling angels, because these energies are so full of love and compassion. You don't feel feared. Okay, so dreams is one of the ways how they communicate. I suggest people should write their dreams, do some journaling, because I don't believe, and this is just my personal opinion, but I don't believe in these books that they will tell you the meaning of the dreams. Why? For instance, I am afraid of frogs. I am really afraid of frogs. My mother, she loves frogs. She thinks that frogs represents abundance. So if my mom and I tonight we have a dreams with frogs, the meaning is going to be very different. So I suggest people write their journal and write your dreams, so you understand what your unconscious mind is trying to tell you. I know that if I have dreams with frogs, it's because something is going to come out in my life that is going to scare me. So another method is scanning of the aura. So what you do is you look for a moment of quietness, you close your eyes, turn your cell phone off, have the intention, like everything else in life, you have to have the intention, have the intention you want to connect with your angels. So you close your eyes, because when you close your eyes, you are minimizing the impact of your ego. So you close your eyes, and then use your visualization and your imagination. Visualize the light that you have in front of you, on the left side, on the back, on the right side, and then ask these lights for their names, for a message. The angels, they have auras, they have smell too. They can smell like flowers, you know. Initially, the messages maybe are very basic message. We love you. You're not alone, but the more you do the exercise, then the message becomes a little bit more transcendental. But in the beginning, like everything else, how do you learn how to ride a bike, with those extra, little wheels, training wheels. So but it's an exercise of 5 minutes, So just it's called the scanning of the aura. Sometimes you can see a strong light, and sometimes the light is very soft. So strong light, these are the auras of archangels. So the archangels are, like in every corporation or organization in heaven, there's a structure. So the archangels are above the angels. So if you have your eyes closed and you see a very strong blue, indigo, almost purple, that's Archangel Michael. But if you see a very soft blue, like turquoise, that's your guardian angel. Guardian angels, they have very soft colors, you know. Green, emerald green, Archangel Raphael, the healer. A pale green, that's one of your guardian angels. So you could also, in the middle of the exercise of scanning the aura, you could also uh, have an ascended master. You could have Jesus, St. Francis, Mary Magdalene. That's very normal. You could see a departed loved one too. So another method that people can use is the automatic writing system. And what you do is you make an appointment with the angels. You say, hey, I want to speak to you guys today at 4:30 p.m. So turn your cell phone off, and then you can use paper and a pen, or just open your computer, and you can do it on Word. So you call your angels, you say, please, guardian angels, or dear angels, I want you to give me a message, and just go with the flow. Don't control, don't correct grammar. This is not the time to correct grammar. Just let go with the flow. The more innocent you are, the better. So you can ask for a specific message. You can say, could you help me, give me a message about my marriage, you know or you can just say, give me an open message. And then that's a very good method, and I believe that's how many books are being written, just by channeling messages from the angels. And the other one is the oracle cards. There's so many cards we can use. I have a few cards here I can show you. These are the Ascended Masters. I have here the Archangels oracle cards. One set that I like to use very much is Kuan Yin, because she's a beautiful Ascended Master connected with karma, female energy, and empowerment. So, and that's a very practical message. I'm sorry, a very practical way to receive a message. And that's basically the methods that are very well known. I teach this in my course, Angels course, but it's very easy. It's surprisingly, people, they always think, oh my God, maybe this is going to be very difficult, or and it comes automatically. The messages, they just flow, and you're channeling messages from the divine, like I say, because they're full of love and compassion. There's no guilt, there's no blame, you know there's no wrong or right. So that's why I like to work for the angels, my bosses. So, and to make this talk more connected with art, I can introduce to people to four archangels who are really connected with art. The first one is Archangel Gabriel. Uh, all the images of Gabriel, they have like a trumpet. He's the archangel of Annunciation. So he came to Mary and told her about Jesus. And so for all the artist people who are writers, poets, um, whether they write books or they write movies, or call upon Archangel Gabriel. He is an expert and everything that is connected with communication. Um, for the people who are teachers, advisors, Archangel Michael is a I'm sorry, Archangel Gabriel is a great archangel to work with. Um, the other archangel, it's interesting because the image is like very female energy. Archangel Gabriel is not, no, it's not like Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael is more like, oh, like a protector, like a soldier, like I'm here and I'm protecting you. Archangel Michael is such a strong, powerful, being. Gabriel is more Hello Kitty energy, more soft energy. So, in general terms, call upon Archangel Gabriel when you need to communicate with others, whether it is verbally or by email, or and ask Gabriel, help me to connect from my higher self, help me to set boundaries with others. That is such a puzzle for so many artist people. Artist people are so connected with their feelings. They're so sensitive, and for them sometimes it's so difficult to say no or to set boundaries with others. And that's when sometimes other people will take advantage of them. Managers, artistic companies, because for artist people are sometimes it's difficult to set boundaries. They don't want to engage into fights. That's not their end. That's not their nature. That's not their arena. They're just they live in this world of creativity, of love, of light and colors. So when someone comes with a contract, listen, you're gonna make $2,500, but 30% is for me. The artist is like, all right, whatever you say, where do I sign? So Archangel Gabriel is right there to help you without becoming someone else, just keeping your integrity, your soft artistic energy. You could say, I don't agree, I should give you 30%. That's too much. So call upon Archangel Gabriel. Now, Archangel Uriel is the archangel of ideas for those people who are inventors, or they are creators. Archangel Uriel, his aura is yellow. He is the archangel of ideas, creativity. So call upon Archangel Uriel when you feel sometimes like stuck, you know, like, oh God, I'm painting this, or I'm creating this work of art, and I am stuck. Sometimes we feel, we're in these places where for some reason our creativity is affected. So call Archangel Uriel. The other one is the Archangel of musicians. His name is Sandalphon. He's a beautiful archangel. His light is very blue. And Sandalphon is the archangel of musicians. So for those who work in music, whether they compose or they sing, call upon Archangel Sandalphon. When I studied this knowledge about angels, I was fascinating to find out that there's an archangel of musicians. I'm like, wow, I can't believe they have an archangel. And the angels, they say, yes, Maria, because with music you heal. What happened when you are driving your car and then you listen to your favorite song? Every cell in your body becomes happy. Your blood is circulating through your whole body effortless. You're breathing easier. So music heals. So for those who work with music and in the music industry, work with Archangel Sandalphon. He's your archangel. And also for those who are trying to find, for those that we are not artists, but we're trying to find, this is a message from the angels. If we're trying to find a new group of friends who vibrate with our vibration, with our symphony, call Archangel Sandalphon. Help me to find my band of new friends who believe and what I believe, who feel like I feel. So that's Archangel Sandalphon. The other one is Archangel Jophiel. She's the archangel of decoration, interior decorations, and feng shui. So every time you get the feeling that, oh, I should move this table, I should paint these walls, I should redecorate my bedroom. That's Archangel Jophiel. She believes that everything is energy. So we need to move things around. We cannot live in a house. How do you feel when you go and visit your parents and they haven't moved their dining room table in 35 years? You're like, oh, I come into their house and I feel stuck. So Archangel Jophiel is the archangel of Feng Shui. We don't have to be experts in Feng Shui, but all I'm saying is follow your intuition when you feel like you need to make some changes at home or in your own personal life. And the last one would be Archangel Raphael, who he's the archangel of healing. You know, if you consider healing as an art, so for those who are healers, you know, call upon Archangel Raphael. He's your archangel.
Mhm, mhm. Maria, you've given us so much information and you express it so beautifully. So those are several archangels that artists can rely on to help them, create their art with ideas, with the execution, with when they feel a little bit stuck, with music, with decoration, feng shui, as you mentioned, beautifying the home and whatnot. So those are great. And thank you for sharing that. What I'd like to do is just kind of like do a little recap of the techniques that you mentioned,
Yeah.
to connect with the angels. And so the dreams, you mentioned specifically 4 to 6 was kind of like that window of time that, you can really access the angels, get some, great messages, some great things going on at that time. The ego is kind of like, in this not so present state.
Right.
And I love that you said to differentiate your dreams between when you're releasing stress, which is completely different to when you're receiving a message from the angels. And then, of course, you're going to feel that beautiful love and the beautiful light. And then that's kind of the mark of demarcation, so to speak, so that that, okay, this is like from your angels and whatnot. And the other is just stress release, and take it for what it is.
Right.
And then the scanning of the aura, that was another technique. And you were saying, Maria, to close your eyes and then you kind of visualize light around you, and you kind of open yourself up to, that beautiful angelic space. And you also mentioned specifically that when you start to see or feel or get kind of downloads of a very soft color, almost like pastel, that's an indication of your immediate angels.
Right. Guardian angel.
Yes, your guardian angels. And then when you get strong colors, those are probably going to be, as you said, Maria, the archangels. That's kind of, right. So that's kind of one way, if you're kind of just starting out, that you can kind of differentiate.
Right.
And then you were talking about the automatic journaling or automatic writing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so I love how you present things, Maria. You're so adorable with how you present it, and so expressive. And you're like, okay, we're going to set a date with the angels, and we're like, okay, at 3:00 p.m. on such and such time, I'm going to communicate with you. I'll have my journal, and you present, something that you want to know about, or you can just be open and say, please give me a message.
Right. I wanna say something about the scanning of the aura. We have 4 channels of communication, of celestial communication. Clairvoyance is the one we all know, seeing, So what these 2 physical eyes cannot see because of ego, our third eye can see it. So images, when I say close your eyes and imagine, visualize the light that you have in front of you, you are actually using your third eye. Now, there's another channel connected with your ears, clairaudience. So sometimes this you can hear an angel. How many of you can have ever hear like someone is calling you, hey Leslie, and then you look and there's nobody there. Okay. Oh, how many times that happens to me a lot. Then I'm driving and I'm start thinking about something else, and then my guardian angel is like, "You're too close to the car in front of you," and I'm like, "Ooh." So sometimes you can hear that from the outside, and sometimes it's like an inner voice, that speaks to you. You can hear this inner voice. So that's clairaudience. Then the other channel is clairsentience, which is connected with your feelings, your heart. So when you're doing the scanning and you have your eyes closed and you go to your front, the left, the back, the right, all your channels are activated. You may feel something, you might hear something, you may see something. Or the other channel is called clear knowledge, and is I always visualize this channel like a flash drive that they put on your crown chakra. And that's when you say, don't ask me how, but I know I have Archangel Michael with me. I didn't see him, I didn't hear them, I didn't feel him, but I know that's a valid channel. It's clear knowledge. Is like I always visualize like a flash drive like right here. Sometimes people say to me, don't even ask me why, and I already know why. I'm like, no, there's no reason or logic. It's clear knowledge. So when you, depending on your channels, you may be very, artist people are very sensitive. So maybe their main channel is their hearts, their smell. This is called clear smell, clear taste. When you are channeling a departed loved one, you can smell them. You can smell their perfume, their lotion. When Mother Mary is next to you, she loves roses. So the main point is that, I always tell my students, don't think that the clairvoyance is the only channel. Give the same importance to the other ones. you know if you smell the roses next to you, even though you didn't see Mother Mary, that is Mother Mary. So the more you start connecting with your channels, the stronger they become, and at the end they all open up. We're like a flower in process of opening up. So, but when we do the exercise of scanning the aura, I always tell my client, my students, close your eyes, imagine what light you see in front of you. Welcome a color, a smell, a fragrance, a feeling, a word. Because I don't know what channel are you is coming to you, but all of them are valid. All of them.
I love that, and I love that openness just to receive. So I'd like to ask you, Maria. So in terms of practicing this, how often like you recommend to do this daily? Because it's something that you need to develop. If you could address that for those that are kind of just starting, and then if you could address it also to those that are a little bit more experienced, maybe they're already seeing things, maybe they're already getting those downloads, hearing things, whatever channel is most open for them, or, it could be a variety. Can you kind of touch upon that to kind of, guide different people who are at different stages?
Right. So I would recommend that you do this exercise of scanning your aura at least once a day. Is 5 minutes. You don't have to spend more than 5 minutes. I recommend that while you're driving your car, don't listen to the radio or music. Just talk to them, loudly or mentally, hey angels, and tell them all of your feelings and fears, and then welcome any kind of message that comes to you through your feelings, through your senses. The senses are 100% involved in the celestial communication. That's why when we do this as a work, as a full-time job like me, well, I'm vegetarian, I do yoga, I meditate, I'm like a baby. I go to bed at 9, because this is a microphone, so diet is very important and your lifestyle too. If you go to bed drunk or under the influence of drugs, you're missing up that window from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. to connect with angels, because you're not in your nervous system is just totally pass out. So I recommend people to learn how to meditate, do yoga, have some moments of quietness, of silence. Okay, you need that. You can connect with angels while you're doing your flowers, while you're doing your garden, artist people while you're painting. Okay, and you say something very important. Right now, there's I feel that the angels, they need our help. We are in a moment in human history where we need to increase our vibration fast. We cannot delay this. So if you're seeing images, if you are receiving messages, like for instance, if you are seeing ascended masters like Jesus, St. Francis, um, Saint Germain, is because you have the gift of healing. They need you to work with them. And just become an instrument, become an intermediary between heaven and earth. We need to help. We have to work together. There's a need. I haven't seen my angels so like an like in an urgency, like, come on, Maria, chop chop, you need to do this now, write this, tell people about that. It's like we can't wait anymore. We're taking too long. And remembering that we are only one race, we are only one planet. How can we still thinking that some people are better than other ones, or that this coronavirus is just something over there in China? No. So we need to, the urgency that the angels and the celestial realm is having is that we need to raise our level of consciousness to the level of teachers, of masters, so we can remember we are all brothers and sisters, basically. Once you remember that, you don't hurt anybody, you don't compete with anybody, so if we can speed up a little bit, the angels are like, come on, Maria, come on, chop chop, I'm like, oh, 1 second, I'm watching the last episode of The Crown. Give me a break, I'll write that later. But I haven't felt this urgency of working on our inner light, our inner healing, so we can all connect from that level of brothers and sisters, so we stop harming the planet.
Mhm. Yeah, you brought up so many excellent points, Maria. So not only connecting with the angels and the archangel, whatever that opens up, in someone's field, that not only are they gaining information, for their life and how to act and messages and all sorts of things that we need guidance on, but it's also not only for their evolution, but it's really for the evolution of everyone, because they're going to experience a lot of inner healing. And it's also kind of like steps towards unity, towards oneness, as you were saying, to realize that we're all one, and you're my sister, you're my brother, and there's that sense of equality, kind of like hushing the voice of the ego. So there's so many different benefits of connecting in with angels on so many levels, and I thought you brought that up beautifully.
Thank you. I always see artists, people like that bridge that you have behind you. I see artist people like angels in disguise. They're here almost like, you know, uh, we don't recognize them, but the mission of artist people is very important, because through their painting, through their songs, they are helping us evolving. Look at that song, Being Happy. Remember that song about happy? That song was fantastic. Why? Because it was a healing song.
Mhm.
So if you are an artist and you are being guided to paint something, to write something, to create something. Believe me, it's important not only for you, it's important for all of us. It's part of healing. You
Mhm.
know, we heal in so many ways. We don't heal only in one path. And in the art world, it's I see all the artists as angels in disguise. Like I see their auras and I see like, oh, don't say anything, Maria. Pretend I'm just a regular person in the world. I'm like, you are a fairy. So it's so funny when I see them in my readings, you know, I'm like, oh, look at that aura, so many colors.
Wow.
My friend, you're not from here. You are an angel on earth. Oh, thank God. I'm not. I always thought I was crazy or I didn't fit. So yeah, it's important the creation of an artist, definitely.
Mhm. And I want to touch on a couple things. We still have a few more minutes, Maria. So someone who is maybe just starting out or maybe dabbed into this a little bit, but not fully experienced, so to speak, and where it's kind of the things are coming automatically and hearing, seeing, and smelling, and kind of getting those feeling downloads. So they start to practice these tips that I love that you presented, and it's like something that they have to continue with, especially if it's not something that they're used to. I'm wondering if you could touch upon two things. One is the level of trust, because now you have to really open up that that heart space, that energetic space, that that higher level space, so that that person can actually access all of this information and guidance and knowledge and whatnot. So that's like huge, to actually, you know, have that trust. And then also, if someone's maybe having a little bit of difficulty, would you recommend that, and what I mean by difficulty is like maybe they're practicing it and practicing it, and they really want to get a little bit more progress, or maybe it's not, they want that communication open. Maybe they could call upon Archangel Gabriel, because Gabriel kind of presides over communication. Say, okay, can you help me communicate with my angels, as well as their practical, artistic expressions. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely, yeah. Call upon Archangel Gabriel. Absolutely, yes. So you can feel more comfortable. You know, the first time you feel like that's it. That the first time, for instance, you get a message like, "We love you." All right, dear Leslie, you're not alone. That's a typical message initially. Initially, and what I found very interesting is that when I'm driving my car, I normally don't listen to music. I talk to them, and I like to talk loud. It's my way to also like let go of some kind of energy there, or anger or frustration. And it's so funny because it takes me long time to ask them a question for them to answer, and their answers are so short. It's so simple.
Mm.
You know, one day I was driving, I'm like, Angels, can you believe that so and so said this to me? And I just can't believe it. You know what was the answer? That's none of your business. So, when you channel angels, because their messages are very short, very simple, and very practical,
Mm-hmm.
And so as soon as I receive that message, I say, oh, I know who's upset, my ego, not my spirit. They're right. And once you start talking and becoming friends with your guardian angels and the rest of the celestial beings, you learn how to see yourself from the outside, and without any judgment you can say, oh wait, one whole horses, I'm kind of vibrating from the level of my ego, not from my level of higher self.
Mm-hmm.
So the angels help you to keep tuned, to keep track, to stay grounded, and don't let all these external noises sometimes pull you down or take you away from your soul. But I recommend you try all the methods: automatic writing, oracle cards, uh, dreams. Ask the angels, come to my dreams tonight. Give me a message. I'm open to receive a message. Help me to understand the dream and help me to remember the dream. You know, use the oracle cards, and then try all of them and see which one resonates with you the most. And then that method that resonates with you the most, use it every day. It becomes like a second thing.
Mhm, mhm. And then also there's the aspect of surrendering and then taking action from the guidance that you hear. Can you just kind of touch upon those once you start to kind of really open these channels up?
Oh, yeah. That's an excellent question, because when you ask for help, you are part of the equation. So when you ask the angels, I want a new job, guess what do you have to do? You have to update your resume. You're gonna have to put your resume up there. So sometimes we think, oh, I already asked the angels. I'm done. Oh no, my dear friend, you're gonna receive through your intuition, through your dreams. Actually, intuition is the voice of God talking through you. So you're gonna receive a message from your intuition, or through dreams, or through the automatic writing system, to take an action. So if you want the help of the angels, you need to help the angels too, in order you can manifest your wish. If you want a new boyfriend, you're gonna have to go out there, and expand the circle of friends, meet new people. So it's very interesting. I always talk about the 4 steps of receiving celestial help, and the first one is ask. And a lot of people, mostly I am Latin, raised Catholic, like 99.99% of Latin people, we were raised with this guilt and this, like, you don't deserve, you know? So we have issues asking. A lot of people who were raised Catholic, we have issues asking, but we need to ask the angels for help, because they cannot violate our free will. We were born with free will. So then you surrender, that's the second step. In other words, it's like saying, that's it, I already give this problem to a much higher energy, it's not my problem anymore. Then you have faith, you trust the process. In order for you to have faith and trust the process, tell yourself things like, okay, I never gave a manuscript to God to create the moon or the sun or the planet Earth. Why do I have to do it now? I'm gonna trust everything is gonna be okay. And the fourth step is that taking an action, guided by that message, by that the angel communication. But you need to take an action. We cannot just say, oh, I asked the angels, that's it, it's up to them. No, you're gonna have to do some things too, but according to what you ask for. Because sometimes we are very spiritual incoherent. So let's say, for instance, you ask, you want to meet the prince. You want to marry this prince, this beautiful soul, and then you're going out with a married man. So when our actions, when we say take an action, the action must match what you ask for. There's some logic there. I always tell my students, spirituality is all about logic and power of discernment. Okay, if you want a new job, and you want to work for a corporation, why are you sending your resume to Bakery Rodriguez? That makes no sense. So sometimes we get desperate. Our egos start telling us, oh, in the middle of a pandemic, who's going to hire you? And we're like, okay, you know what, whatever. I'm going to send my resume to Bakery Rodriguez. And sometimes we sabotage the angels. We are the source of a sabotage. So, but trust the universe, the God and all the angels, they want us to be happy.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that the logic and discernment, like really brings everything celestial really down to earth. And I think that was such a good point. And I think that some people really get tripped up on the point of taking action. Like you were saying, it's like, okay, I'm trusting, you have already asked and doing all these steps and the angels are going to bring it to me. It's almost like, well, you have to kind of bring it to yourself. And I love that you say you have to be like part of the equation. It's like you are like the solution itself. So you take that guided step or steps, whatever it is, to fulfill whatever desire you have. So I thought that was, an excellent point to have that follow through.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's important. You know, I always sometimes I when I have doubts, I always call Joan of Arc. I have a strong connection with her, and I always say, okay, you were 15 years old, you fought the English, you liberate the French people. No one believed you. You were seeing and hearing Archangel Michael, and still you fought these wars and you won. Help me to have faith that this action I'm taking is the right action, even though no one is believing it. Because sometimes, Leslie, we allow others to bring us down, and for artist people it must be very difficult sometimes, go ahead. What, I'm sure when you told your mom I want to be an artist, no parent was like, yeah. They always associate art with hardship, with hunger, with, are you not going to be successful? So call these strong ascended masters like Jesus, like St. Francis, like Mary Magdalene, like Joan of Arc. For me, it's Joan of Arc. I'm like, come on, Joan of Arc. No one is believing in my talents as an artist. Help me to manifest this vision. So, because sometimes we have to go against a lot of opinions.
Mhm.
So that's why it's important to develop and strengthen the connection with the celestial realm.
Yeah, absolutely. Such great point. So it's all of this really, like, in the larger picture, Maria, is developing your own voice and developing a return to innocence. It's really getting connected with yourself and your voice, your purpose, your passion, and the whole celestial realm, and your guides, your angels, and then, like, opening it up to the ascended masters and the archangels as well.
Right. Exactly. Mhm.
I have a question, and then we're gonna need to wrap things up, Maria.
Yeah.
Um, Someone who's watching, maybe they have some of the skills developed that you do, and so this is something that they do and something that they practice as well. Perhaps they even teach. Is there anything that you would recommend for those that are at that level? Maybe some things that you incorporate that are new, or that you set more of a prominence or a priority on, that they can also apply in their lives. Keep that whole evolvement and expansion growing.
Right. I took several courses. So through Angel University LLC, I became an angel therapy practitioner. Then when I started seeing past lives, I became a past life healer. Then I took courses in chakras and mediumship. So we need to study. We need to, even though we were born with these gifts from many past lives, this is not new. We need to structure this knowledge like everything else. So I do teach courses too. And it's funny you asked that question because the angels were whispering in the interview. Give them a message with the oracle cards. And I say, okay. So I use these cards of ascended masters, and the card is energy healing. And it's very interesting. This is Merlin, and energy healing means, Leslie, basically that everybody who is watching this interview, whether they watch it today or in 20 years, they are healers. They can heal. So your last question is basically more like an affirmation. If you're watching this talk, you are a healer. Merlin is telling you you have the gift of healing, and you can heal in so many ways. Art is one way. Uh, Advising others, counseling others, using your hands, chakras, Reiki, but I will recommend study. I took courses with James Van Praagh, took a course in leadership with him, with the guy from Past Lives. Sorry, Doctor, I forgot his name. The author of Many Lives, Many Masters. Okay, well, the name will come back to me. And you know, when Hay House used to teach this seminar, I can do it seminar. I attend many seminars when tired, and so many teachers, so many great speakers. Brian Weiss. All right, I know the name will come to me. So I would recommend to those who knows they are healers and they're receiving messages. Um, Actually, that's how I started in 2010, because the angels, they came and say, you know, we need some help. Could you help us? I say, sure. And when I saw them, it was in the middle of the night. I was kind of like waking up, you know, and I saw these three big angels, and they explained me that we are going through a process of awakening of consciousness. And so that, you know, they asked me if I could help them. I said, of course I can. So all these teachers and books and courses, they came to me, and then I start practicing with me. First, you have to heal your own life, your own wounds. Once you do it, then you start helping your friends, your family members, and word of mouth. A friend of a friend come to see you, and finally, you know, we can make this art of healing as your career. But definitely, everybody who is watching this interview or this talk, whether they do it today or in 2040, they are healers.
Mm, that I love that. And you gave such great advice too for those that are a little bit more advanced on the path of, you know, opening up to these channels and receiving from the divine. And Merlin, I feel so connected with it. So wow, that was really beautiful. Yeah, love that. That was awesome. Great message. Maria, we do need to wrap the show up.
Yep.
So we'd like to offer you the closing comments, however you'd like to wrap up the show, and let us know how we can stay connected with you.
Sure. I have a website. If you go to Google and just type Celestial Session, or you can Google my name, Maria Scozzari. I teach courses. I do personal readings. My main goal is that everybody knows that no one is alone in the world. Everybody has angels. Every alive being, whether it is a human, an animal, or a tree, came with angels, and we are not separated. We are all part of the same family, you know. And one of the lessons from this coronavirus is to remind us we are all in this together. You know, we are one family. So just incorporate the angels. Go back to your early years of life when you were very innocent and your ego was not that empowered, and start talking to them. You know, invite them to your dreams. Ask for signs. They love to send you feathers. They love to send you rainbows. They like to play music. They love to play. They have a great sense of humor. So ask for signs. You know, signs are a very good way to keep that connection, you know, to understand that they're always with you. We're not alone. We're always, no one is alone. No one.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to end the show, and how comforting, and really to bridge that gap of separation and kind of remove those illusions. Maria, this has been so amazing, and you shared so much with us, and not only your beautiful energy, but you know, some of your experiences and practical tips and techniques that anybody can apply to connecting with the angels, as we kind of explored this whole like art of angel communication. Thank you so much,
You're
Maria.
very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. We appreciate the time you take to watch Art and Talk. This does conclude our two-part series of the looking at the art of communication. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk soon on the next Art and Talk. Until then, be well and be blessed.